In this video, I'll show you how to use Onyx Disk Cleaner for Mac. So let's get started. So Onyx has been in use for a long time, I think more than 20 years. If you remember, Vista was not well received during the earlier time when it was released before the service pack 1, and I was actually impressed with macOS Leopard. So Leopard, Snow Leopard were my contenders, but it was very expensive. But at that time, so you could buy $100 license, which was 60 to 70% cheaper than Windows, and run it on your Intel-based PC. Actually, since Macs were using Intel chips similar to the Windows PCs, so Core 2 Duo was more prevalent. So dual core, and I think quad core become mainstream a few years later. Mac OS Tahoe support, that is Mac OS 26, and the version is 4.9.8. So you just download the DMG file and then drag and drop to the application. Which is as simple as it gets. So if you're on older version, I would highly recommend updating it if you have a newer version available. So I'll just go into the app. So this is the home screen. Let me just minimize everything so that it is easy. Then let's go to the info section. So this will give you hardware, software, and all the system specification that is related to your Mac. So this is the hardware. So I'm using Mac Mini M4, the base model. It is connected to FHD printer, things like that. So it is on 16 GB LPDDR5. The memory usage is around 9 GB with OBS being recorded in the background. Swap usage is literally 0%. And you have page in, page outs, active, inactive memory. You can actually purge it. So let me just go ahead and purge the standby memory. So you have to give your admin password or your login password to perform root level functions, just like Linux. As you can see, the memory cached files has been reduced, but it does not touch the memory used, only purges the cached memories that is no longer needed. So this is the volume. So I'll just so these are the stuffs. I'll just censor the UUID here, and this is the style of profile. What you have next? Let's go to maintenance. So whenever you do structure verification of the entire file system, that is APFS, it will actually reboot the things. So I usually have all the cleaning enabled. So I don't use Apple Mail. Spotlight, I didn't face any issues because this is a very new Mac and it's only been in use for 2 weeks. And yeah, so if you want the volume positions in the sense the icon positions, or you prefer things to be in certain position within the desktop, just uncheck this. And if you have issues with services database, so plist files and other things, if you have done a major update and you just want to reset or rebuild all those indexes, so you can just go ahead and enable Spotlight cleanup of that. So do note that when you run task, it will ask for you to reboot so that it can actually verify and fix the file system. Usually I did not find any issues with APFS, but it's much more resilient, and HFS Plus, or the older file format system used by Apple. So let's go to the next utilities section. So you can actually check it. This is a non-destructive read-only file system check. So this should be very quick, but anything that needs to be fixed, so it has to be rebooted. You can actually create snapshots if you are trying a new software or trying a new OS version, so you can just revert it back quickly. This is related to the scheduling. So if you want it to run on every startup or ever some specific day, hour, or minute, you can actually do that. So this is the man page. I've not used it. Let's see what it is. Okay, this is just a process accounting, and you can bring up the applications, the system applications related to wireless diagnostics, directory utility. So these are hidden by default. So if you can't connect to Active Directory, LDAP, V3, things like that, and you have to unlock it to make the new changes. So this is related to display calibration. So if you have new ICC files that have recently calibrated for your specific monitor, you can install it here. And even this is related to the Pro Display XDR. This is for Apple displays. So this is related to archive utility. So this is the Xarchive utility. I just replaced it with Keka so that it supports a lot more file formats. So this is related to keychain access. So this will open your passwords app. I'll just escape to go out of it so that you don't see my passwords and things like that. This, now coming to the file section, so you can erase specific folder or specific files. So this is related to Apple double, that is you'll have some underscore. You can select the entire disk and check it. Okay, it automatically deletes everything. So it does not have a scanning method, but it deletes the things. Then you can empty the trash from here, and you have to give for password, and the trash will be emptied. Yeah, so this is an important feature. If you had installed things from outside the App Store, you will find that the uninstall method of directly putting it on the trash is not that effective. And personally, I felt that it left a lot of residual files. So you can just select it from the application. I'll just select a random app here. And once you select uninstall this application, it will force close the application and then uninstall everything. So there will not be any remnants left. You'll see something like prompt here to continue, or you can just simply cancel it. Next is related to visibility. You can hide certain volumes, folder, files, or even application. So I think the integrity check applies here as well. So I've not used Target's feature to get the bill of materials for each package. So this is the file security integrity. So yeah, if you want to hide a system app or any app, so you have to disable the things. You can also disable security responses. So these are just the point files. So similar to background security improvements that gets installed automatically. So you can actually turn it off here. So if you don't like to visit the settings app. Still, I have not found a use case here. So if you want to search or locate a specific file, you can actually find it. Oh, maybe I got it. I think giving it as case sensitive was the issue. Maybe is that the issue? Yes. Okay. Yeah, it is fast. I think case sensitivity was enabled. And these are the additional parameters. You can actually disable the help tags or even speed up the display of the help tags. Even change the text size from 10 to 11, things like that. I had to change it so that it is easier to read. Next, you can change the name of the screenshot. If you save a file or do a screen capture, it will you can change the default screenshot file name to something else. I've even changed it to was getting stored to documents. I've just created a new folder called videos, and everything will go under that. I'm not sure about this option, but yeah, I did not find anything different. Even you can change the number of recent items that is shown. I just kept it at default. I just didn't enable the expanded file as option. I used the default thing. So animate alert messages is the same. I have not enabled it. So if you're too lazy and if you want, if you don't want to take a look at the internal, so you can unhide it with Shift, Command, and Dot. So this is the hidden keystroke to get the hidden files, and you can unhide it by command. I think this is called option, shift and dot. So if it is on a Windows keyboard, it will be the alt key, shift and dot. So if you don't like using the shortcut keys, you can certainly enable this and it will show the hidden dot files by default. And you can reduce the delay before displaying the proxy icon as well. You can show the item path in the window title. I think you have to restart the Finder after applying it. So let me just see. Yeah, let me just check if there's anything open. Okay, show the item path in window title. Let me do that. Okay, this is the thing. So instead of Macintosh HD, it will show it as the exact root. And you can disable the graphics effects if you don't like them, and turn off the animation entirely, and even hide the desktop apps, desktop icons, and all the things. Even it will hide everything here. I just kept everything at the default here for the menus. You can even change the position of the dock, minimize the effect. This is a genie effect, scaling effect. You have to restart the dock service. So I'll just keep it as the default. I do not see much difference with scale and suck effect. So you can use transparent icons for hidden application. So if you have hidden the things, and you can add spacing and even hide the display animation, or you can automatically hide or show the dock. This will close it. I think it has killed the dock. Okay, now it's showing up. So I could do this. Some reason, okay. I think whenever I use show dock, it automatically unchecks this. Or you can add the highlighted rover effect in the stack. I'm not seeing a lot of difference here. And under the login section, you can actually change the background for current user or all users. And you can automatically mount new volumes. So if you use external SSDs for media storage, you can have them automatically mounted so that if you do have reopen Windows when logging in. So this will certainly help in case if you don't like to see media or volume not found errors. So startup while opening the lid is missing because this is a Mac Mini. So it should be applicable only to MacBook, and you can display some info on the login menu, or even add a custom message to the login menu. So everything is the default. I did not change anything here. You can even hide the debug menu for Safari. So this is related to the system apps on a Mac. So Quartz debug is the Xports window that is used for running Linux application. Messages, I think it is just the iMessage subject field. Terminal window focus, I've not used it. So most of the things are set to default. So I have not changed anything. So this is miscellaneous things. You can actually verify disk images, that is ISO or DMG files here, use automatically. By default, the crash reporter functions in basic mode, so it will only emit or save warnings or errors or any kind of critical errors. So in developer crash reporter, you'll see a lot of info files followed by a critical error and warnings. So the server, it will say that it will log everything. So connecting to one and each client, the IP, the port number, and all the things. So you can even add prevent DS store files from being created on network volume. So if you have a NAS or other files or other SAS based volumes that is connected via network, you can actually add this and prevent the DS store. So this is a nifty feature to have. Otherwise, you will be filled with a DS store and the Apple double files, and which are a headache to clean up. So in the text, I just keep it at the default thing. So allow the startup volume to be indexed using Spotlight, and you can delete existing index as well. I have not tried this. Let me try this. First, holding the control and command keys. Control command. Okay. So this is the snapping. So you have to press, if you're using Windows based keyboards, so you have to use Alt and the Windows key and then align it thing. So this is called Windows snapping. Not sure why this was disabled by default. So just let me just the auto resizing is now disabled. So you can just that's the reference here. And after running the maintenance command, the things will restart. It'll, like it says, it will quit all the running application so that it can close all the files and not cause the apps to crash and your work files to be lost. So I think that is pretty much it for this video. So thanks for watching. Bye.